Hey everybody, Neil Thompson from Teach the Geek here. I work with technical professionals so they can present more effectively, especially in front of non-technical audiences. And you can learn more about that at teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. And as always, remember to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel as every bit helps. Next week, I'm going to a conference. It's a technical conference, and I'm looking forward to it. There are three things that I'm going to be on the lookout for when it comes to the oral presentations at the conference. And I suspect the majority, if not all, of the presentations are going to be technical in nature. So the first thing I'm going to be looking out for is text on the slides. Inevitably, these presenters will have PowerPoint slides. And on the slides, I'm curious to see how much text they have on the slides. And I'm also curious to see whether they read, because when you read, it's difficult to engage an audience because you're looking at the screen as opposed to looking at the people. The more words there are on the slide, the more tempted you are to read, the more likely you're not looking at the people, the more likely they're not going to look at you and not pay attention. So I'm really curious to see whether there's a whole bunch of text on the slides. The second thing I'm going to be looking for is images. Now, I'm a fan of using images as opposed to text on slides, but I'm curious to see whether there are going to be a lot of images on a slide. Because a lot of times at these technical conferences, there are charts and graphs and tables, things that are used to convey the data that they want to convey. But I'm really interested to see whether there's going to be a whole lot of these images, these texts and graphs or not text, these graphs and tables and charts on one slide. And and when that happens, it's difficult to know which image you're supposed to be looking at any given time. And you're just scanning from one of these images to another. It's a lot to take in at once. I'm a bigger fan of minimizing the number of images you have on the slide and having more slides if necessary, just to make sure that people are focusing on the right image at the right time. So I'll be looking out for that. And then the third thing I'll be interested to see is whether there are questions after the presentations. Because oftentimes at these technical conferences, especially during the breakout sessions, people are presenting research. And so that what they do is they'll give their presentation and then there'll be some time afterwards for Q&A. And I'm be really interested to see if who has questions afterwards and who doesn't. Because oftentimes when there are no questions, it's a sign that people weren't really paying attention. And if you weren't paying attention, then obviously you can't really ask questions because you don't really care about the presentation in the first place. So I'm really keen to see whether there are questions after the presentation, because at least that's a sign typically that people were paying attention. There was just something that perhaps they need a little bit more clarification on. So those are the three things I'm really interested to see for these presentations. One, how much text do they have on their slides? Two, how many images they have on their slides? And three, whether they get questions after the presentations. So wish me luck. So, well, again, my name is Neil Thompson. I am the founder of Teach the Geek. I work with technical professionals so they can present more effectively, especially in front of non-technical audiences. And you can learn more about that at teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. And as always, remember to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel as every bit helps. Thanks. Have a great day.